everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk Physical Media. I am your host, John, and this is the weekly news show where, you guessed it, we talk about everything in the world of physical media. And it was actually a very busy news week this week. Not even too sure where to begin, but let's just dive right into it. I guess we'll start off with what I thought was pretty big news. At first, I thought it was an April Fool's joke because Kevin Smith has used this April Fool's joke in the past. I think he actually used it last year. But this year, he announced that Dogma is officially going to be coming back to theaters on June 5th. Dogma had been in the hands of the Weinsteins. They were holding it hostage. To me, that was still Kevin Smith's best film. I absolutely love Dogma from 1999. Starring Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and plenty more. Alan Rickman. Just a stacked cast, and I'm glad that the rights have finally returned to Kevin Smith. And it's going to be re-released back in theaters in a new restoration. He's taking it on the road first, starting on Easter Sunday. It's funny because this is a, satire of religion. Easter Sunday also happens to fall on 4/20 this year, and WrestleMania for the wrestling fans. So 3 holidays in one this year, but that'll also be the first day you can go see Dogma on the road with Kevin Smith. And if you guys have never seen any kind of Kevin Smith road shows, he takes a lot of his movies on the road before they get released in theaters. They're always a lot of fun. I've done a couple of those. If you're into Kevin Smith, you owe it to yourself to try it out. They're usually not too expensive. Kevin Smith's just a really cool dude who loves making movies. I know he's not for everybody, but I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, so I am just super excited to see Dogma coming back to theaters, which should lead to a 4K Blu-ray. I'm going to guess sometime in the fall, but either way, we're going to be eating good in the neighborhood on this one if you're a Kevin Smith fan, so I'm very excited to see that one coming to 4K Blu-ray, hopefully sometime this year. The other big one was from Disney. I didn't expect this. I mean, I guess I should have expected it. With Lilo and Stitch coming to theaters this summer, the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, which I know me and a lot of people are hoping that, this one gets a little bit more love than some of the other live-action remakes that we have gotten in the past. Lilo and Stitch is a beloved Disney film, like a lot of beloved Disney animated films that people don't want to see their childhood get shot in the face, so they're hoping that the Lilo and Stitch remake is pretty damn good. But luckily for us, the original's still the original, and that is going to be coming to 4K Blu-ray on May 6th as well, so that's pretty cool. Can't wait to see that on 4K Blu-ray. Lilo and Stitch, not one of my personal favorites, but it's one of my wife's personal favorites, so I know she's super excited, and it's getting a brand new Dolby Atmos track on there. If it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, I might pick that one up, but May is a very expensive month, and so is June, and so is April, so for me, Lilo and Stitch isn't necessarily at the top of the list, but hey, I do want to grab it. Haven't seen it in years, and I'm definitely going to be checking out the live action remake, so hopefully the price is a little bit fair, but it is Disney and Buena Vista, so more than likely it's gonna hurt. Speaking of my wife, one of my wife's favorite movies of all time is Clueless. And it's been rumored, not confirmed, but I think this is pretty true with its anniversary and everything coming up. Clueless is going to be celebrating 30 years this year. It is my wife's favorite film of all time. I'm not the world's biggest Clueless fan. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. I love what they're talking about in the movie. I can understand why my wife absolutely loves this film. I've seen it more times than I probably wanted to see it, but hey, I still enjoy the movie. I grabbed my wife this Blu-ray Steelbook when it came out. She'll still watch it on streaming, but hey, you know what? When this 4K Blu-ray that's supposedly coming out on July 8th comes, the rumored artwork is actually, they're using this Steelbook and actually the regular Blu-ray artwork that came out years ago when this Blu-ray came out. They're just reusing the same artwork as far as people talking about it. I don't think that's true, but you never do know. They could reuse the same exact artwork for the 4K Blu-rays. I don't imagine they will, but the artwork that's floating around is just the same artwork from years ago. I'm hoping that they update that artwork because that would just be very, very lazy. But since it doesn't have an official announcement yet, I'm just going to go ahead and say that that's not going to be the artwork. But if they reuse the same 4K Steelbook, I guess that's all right. The Steelbook is pretty cool. Definitely ties into the movie. But hey, at least we're going to be getting Clueless on 4K Blu-ray. And speaking of reusing the same artwork, it looks like the Sean Connery 4K Blu-ray collection is just going to be reusing this artwork, just put it in one big, fat box instead of splitting it up like they did here back in the day for volumes 1 and 2. And that'll be the standard edition. I kind of suspected that's what they were going to do. Now, I'm just hoping that when they go with the 4K Steelbook route, they don't just do what they did with the Daniel Craig 4K Steelbook collection and they just kind of use this and, widen it out. I would think that would just be very, very lazy like we just talked about with Clueless. So let's hope they don't go that route. My guess is that they won't. I think they're going to do something a little bit more unique, but hey, you do never know. We talk about lazy Steelbook designs all the time here on the channel. And, speaking of some nice steelbook designs, did you guys see the Dead Zone and Return of the Living Dead 4K steelbook designs? I thought those were pretty cool. I won't be personally grabbing them because I already have those on 4K Blu-ray, and I'm not going to upgrade just for those steelbook designs. But if you haven't grabbed the Dead Zone and Return of the Living Dead on 4K Blu-ray, both of them are phenomenal 4K Blu-rays. I think the Dead Zone is one of the most underrated 4K Blu-rays that you could ever grab, so I highly recommend that if you haven't grabbed it. That Dead Zone 4K steelbook, if I didn't have it, I would definitely grab it. It looks absolutely really cool. And Return of the Living Dead is my favorite zombie film of all time, so I could always recommend that. So if you've never seen it, these steelbooks might be the route to go for you guys as well. And then if you guys are fans of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, we know that the Nightmare on Elm Street collection is coming out this year, and also a steelbook and standard option. We haven't seen our artwork on that, but the director of Nightmare on Elm Street 2 talked this week, and so did Robert Englund, about the restoration process for a Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Now, we are only hearing about a Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I imagine that everybody is working on their film, so Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. Everybody is working on their personal restorations for their films at the same time to get it ready for that big 4K Blu-ray collection that's coming out later this year. But apparently the Nightmare on Elm Street 2 4K restoration came out really well. He said that it looked better than it's ever looked, so that's awesome, great to hear. And they were working on some brand new extras, so for us to get new extras as well, it really sounds like this is going to be a great 4K Blu-ray release, especially if you are a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street films like I am. I mean, this is something that we've been asking for years, a brand new restoration of the entire franchise. We got the original one last year, but to get the entire franchise, and it doesn't sound like they're going the lazy route as well, I really do appreciate that, and that's really all we can ask for. Now, obviously, we have to start getting prepared, mentally and physically prepared for what the price of this bad boy is going to be, because I would not be surprised if it comes in around $200. That Sean Connery collection we were talking about, I think the standard edition is like about 106. I probably will go that route, even though they are reusing the same artwork, just to save a little bit of money, just because everything is coming out this year. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm so happy. It's just that my bank, my wallet, and my wife are getting very, very upset. And June, with the Sean Connery collection, Brazil, Sorcerer, like those are all must-owns for me, and there's still more coming out in June as well. It's crazy how much stuff is coming out this year. Definitely not worth complaining about. This is all we've been asking for. It's just, it's hard to speak with your wallet when the wallet's empty. One thing that was announced that I don't see a lot of people talking about, probably because it's not The Searchers, but Warner Archive is going to be releasing their second 4K Blu-ray, High Society. This one stars Bing Crosby, Gene Kelly, and Frank Sinatra. I've actually never seen this movie, but Warner Archive is doing the 4K Blu-ray restoration for this, and The Searchers is one of the greatest 4K Blu-ray restorations that I have ever seen. I mean, it made that movie look absolutely incredible. It is one of the must-own 4K Blu-rays out there. And even though I've never seen High Society, I might actually blind by that because I want to see what Warner Archive does with their follow-up. Do they have a sophomore slump, or is this going to be just as good a quality as The Searchers? This is one of those discs where I might blind by just because The Searchers was incredible, and I'm a big fan of classic film, and I always try and catch up on classic films that I've never seen before anyway, so High Society, maybe a first time. I'm not somebody who likes to really go out there and first time buy anything, but with a classic film like this that's getting the Warner Archive treatment, usually I enjoy Warner Archive films, and now a 4K Blu-ray restoration that hopefully is in line with The Searchers. Yeah, this might be one that I go out of my way to grab. We'll just have to wait and see. A24 announced their releases as well for April. They're going to be releasing Luca Guadagnino's Queer on 4K Blu-ray. Haven't seen this one yet, starring Daniel Craig. Luca Guadagnino did Challenges last year, which I thought was a phenomenal film. Definitely a film that I felt like got overlooked at the Academy Awards. Really let me down. Still think that that was the best score of 2024. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross just hit a grand slam with that. To not even get nominated absolutely kills me. At least of the nominations, the right winner was picked for The Brutalist, but still, I think Challenger should have won. But anyway, that's going to be getting a 4K Blu-ray release. Queer is going to be getting an A24 4K Blu-ray release the same month as A Different Man, which is starring Sebastian Stan, who had 2 movies come out last year. He played Donald Trump last year in The Apprentice as well, but he also starred in this movie, A Different Man. A Different Man, this is a very, very, very dark comedy. I saw this movie. Be honest with you guys, I didn't love it. There were some decisions in the movie that just left me scratching my head, and I get that might have been the point of the movie, but overall, just not a kind of movie that I enjoyed. I didn't really love it. I did love Sebastian Stan's performance in it, though. And I've always been kind of championing for Sebastian Stan since I, Tonya came out. I think people just always look at him as the MCU actor, and I really think he's a very, very underrated actor overall. So I'm just really glad to see that Sebastian Stan, got nominated for an Academy Award for The Apprentice, getting the recognition that he deserves. I think The Apprentice is probably the better of the two films, but I don't think both of these films are like world-class, rewatchable films in my opinion. A Different Man, though, it's pretty cool to watch Sebastian Stan like act his ass off. I really appreciate the movie for that. It's just, I found that the movie made some decisions I just didn't love, and that's all. So I don't think I'll be grabbing Queer and A Different Man from A24, but I'm glad to see these getting the 4K Blu-ray release treatment. Seems like A24's pattern is to give us like 2 movies each month on 4K Blu-ray. They seem to clearly work with the artists who are releasing these films on 4K Blu-ray, so I really do appreciate that. I appreciate everything that A24 is doing. Just that these are 2 movies I'm probably going to take a pass on. I'll probably check out Queer before I eventually, pick up that 4K Blu-ray. It sounds like it was a mixed bag. I still got to catch up to it. So if you guys have seen that movie, let me know if it's pretty good and worth my time. And then it was also announced by Turbine Studios that they're going to be releasing Super Mario Bros. On 3D Blu-ray. I always like to talk about this here on the channel because I'm really glad to see Turbine keeping the 3D Blu-ray market alive. I mean, I'm not the biggest 3D Blu-ray fan. I don't have a 3D Blu-ray TV. I don't really like to go see 3D movies in theaters, mainly because I get motion sick. It's just my body failing me, not because I don't enjoy the actual technology. It's just that, my body, it's a disaster. So, of course, that's one of the things. It just, it doesn't like 3D. So, of course, I have to deal with that. But I know my buddy John Doe Juggalo, a channel producer here, and also has a great YouTube channel. Him and his family are huge supporters of 3D Blu-rays. And I'm sure that they are thrilled and excited that this is going to be coming to Blu-ray as well. This is one of the most popular films to come out in the last few years. The Super Mario Bros. Film, big family event. I'm really glad that this is going to be getting the 3D Blu-ray treatment. Just for the families out there who enjoy this movie. Great movie to like watch at home. Throw the 3D glasses on and watch with the entire family. So really happy to see that Turbine is still committed to a technology that isn't so beloved nowadays. And then the last bit of news I want to talk about is just because it's not even physical media related. It just surprised the hell out of me. And who knows if this will even get a physical media release because it's coming to Netflix. But Quentin Tarantino and David Fincher are actually teaming up for a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's last film that he did, one of his best films that he's ever made, is going to be getting a sequel on Netflix directed by David Fincher. It's going to be mostly a Cliff Booth story, which makes sense. David Fincher has worked with Brad Pitt how many times in the past? They clearly have great chemistry. I'm just a little bit concerned. Quentin Tarantino did do the script for this, but Quentin Tarantino and David Fincher's styles, I can't imagine them meshing very well together. I mean, Quentin Tarantino likes to make these fun, over-the-top films that obviously have a ton of violence and can get very dark, but, the quirky dialogue, all that stuff works just so well for a Quentin Tarantino film. David Fincher's films are very clean, very neat. They speak in their own versions of dialogue. Maybe Mank is kind of the one that I'm like, okay, I could see it. I could see, like, Mank might be like that middle ground where I'm like, okay, I can see Once Upon a Hollywood coming from that director, but I cannot see the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel coming from the guy who directed Seven and Zodiac. Maybe that's just a bridge I have to get over, but still, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to be seeing it. There's a 100% guarantee about that, but it coming to Netflix, this being a physical media channel, are we ever going to get a 4K Blu-ray release of the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood if it goes straight to Netflix? We never got Mank. We never got The Killer. We never got any of the shows that David Fincher did on Netflix. Haven't exactly loved his relationship with them. I have appreciated the art that's come out of it, but, this whole physical media being held hostage by Netflix thing really does bother me. And if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood gets a sequel and doesn't get a physical media release, not going to be a happy camper, and I'm sure you guys won't be either. But either way, or it's in the early development stages. Honestly, I thought this was an April Fool's joke, so I was pretty surprised. It felt like an April Fool's joke, but I guess I'm the April Fool because I thought it was a joke. But anyway, that's what you get for having CinemaCon around one of the the most comedic holidays of all time. But the news never stops. Even after I'm done recording and starting to edit the video, we get even more news. The Nice Guys is going to be coming to 4K Blu-ray in June from Second Sight. This is a different scan than the WB scan that came out, I believe, last month. This is actually the reason why I didn't grab that WB scan, because I knew that Second Sight was working on their new and, exclusive 4K Blu-ray scan of The Nice Guys, directed by Shane Black. So that's the one I'll be getting. That one will probably more than likely likely also be getting a standard release, which will be the version I probably get just because, you know, the big fat box from Second Sight, it's going to be a little bit expensive, and June's already a very expensive month. We were just talking about the Sean Connery collection, so there's a lot that's coming out in June, so I probably, if I can afford it in June, I'll probably end up getting the standard edition. And then the other little bit of news, it's kind of bad news, but a Fistful of Dollars has been delayed to May 12th from Arrow Video. That was originally supposed to come out in April. We're supposed to get a Fistful of Dollars in April for a few dollars more in May, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly to end the Dollars trilogy in June. But unfortunately, a Fistful of Dollars has been delayed till May. They didn't bring up whether this is going to affect for a few dollars more or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't think it is. But this is kind of good news as well, because we don't want them to release an unfinished 4K Blu-ray or something that's not going to work where they have to send out replacement discs. I'd rather them get it perfect and right and give us the best 4K Blu-ray possible. If that means delaying it, then that means delaying it. It's the same way I feel about video games. If it's not done, don't send it out. I'm fine with the delay. You know, obviously, I would rather have it come out the date they announced. And me personally, this kind of sucks because I ordered it with the Sneakers 4K Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. They was both supposed to come out on April 22nd. And now that this got delayed, that's going to delay Sneakers for me because, you know, for Atomic Movie Store to ship it, they have to have both of the things I ordered. They have to have everything in the order to ship it. So I have Sneakers and a Fistful of Dollars coming out of that. So, kind of sucks. They're both not going to be coming until May 12th, but hey, I'd rather them get it right. But I'm going to send it back to myself, and we'll finish up this week's show. But that's going to do it here for me anyway, guys, on another episode of Let's Talk Physical Media. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video if you could. Also want to thank all of my channel members, anyone who's a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, or a channel director like Nicholas Head, Uncle V, and Kevin Kruger, or even our channel bankroll members. Thank you guys so much. That's where you'll find Mr. Smelly Potato and the legendary Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. And guys, if you want to look for all of those perks that you get for being a channel member, look for all that information in the description below. But if you got no money to throw away, guys, don't you worry about it at all. We just hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.